The cemetery stood in solemn silence, its gravestones weathered and ancient, bearing witness to the passage of time. It was a place of both remembrance and mourning, where the living paid their respects to the departed. But beneath its serene facade lay a darkness that few dared to acknowledge. James Cutter, a retired groundskeeper with a penchant for solitude, arrived at the cemetery on a cold autumn morning. He had been hired as the new caretaker, responsible for tending to the grounds and ensuring that the resting place remained peaceful and well-kept. As he walked among the tombstones, he couldn't help but feel an inexplicable sense of unease, as though the very earth beneath him held secrets that were best left undisturbed. In the stillness of the night, James heard faint whispers that seemed to rise from the very soil of the cemetery. At first, he dismissed them as the rustling of leaves or the echoes of distant voices. But the whispers persisted, growing louder and more distinct. They were like fragmented memories, fragments of conversations and laments from the departed souls that called the cemetery home. One afternoon, as James tended to the graves, he stumbled upon an old, weather-beaten headstone hidden among the overgrown weeds. The inscription had faded with time, but he managed to decipher the name, Emily White. Intrigued by the forgotten grave, James decided to learn more about Emily's story. He embarked on a journey into the town's history, uncovering a tragic tale of love and loss that had plagued the White family for generations. As James delved deeper into Emily's story, he began to experience haunting visions. He would see glimpses of a young woman in a tattered white dress, her eyes filled with sorrow and despair. She appeared to be reaching out to him, her spectral form beckoning him closer. These visions left James shaken, and he couldn't escape the feeling that Emily's restless spirit sought something from him. During his research, James discovered a diary that had once belonged to Emily White. It contained cryptic entries detailing her dreams of a forbidden love and the tragic circumstances that had led to her untimely death. As he read the diary, James felt a growing connection to Emily's story. He sensed that she had left behind clues that could unlock the secrets of the cemetery and the restless spirits that dwelled within. With the diary in hand, James continued to explore the cemetery, guided by the cryptic entries. He began to experience increasingly unearthly events, gravestones shifting on their own, eerie lights flickering in the night, and ghostly figures that seemed to materialize among the tombstones. The restless spirits appeared to be growing more agitated, their presence a palpable force that enveloped the cemetery. As James delved deeper into the cemetery's history, he realized that a malevolent force had taken root among the graves. It was this force that was responsible for the increasingly sinister events. Emily's diary hinted at a dark ritual performed by her family, a ritual that had inadvertently bound their souls to the cemetery. The malevolent force sought to consume all who dared to uncover its secrets. James, driven by a sense of responsibility and empathy for the restless spirits, resolved to uncover the truth behind the dark ritual. He gathered the fragments of Emily's diary and consulted with local historians, piecing together the details of the ceremony that had cursed the cemetery. He learned of an ancient artifact, the Key of Desolation, which was said to be the source of the malevolent force's power. With the help of his newfound knowledge, James embarked on a perilous journey to locate the artifact and break the curse. The quest for the Key of Desolation led James to a series of forgotten catacombs hidden beneath the cemetery. As he ventured deeper into the dark, winding tunnels, he encountered traps, puzzles, and malevolent spirits that guarded the artifact. His determination and resourcefulness were tested to the limit as he faced each obstacle in his path. The malevolent force fought fiercely to protect the key, sensing that its ultimate defeat was at hand. As James delved deeper into the catacombs, he encountered the guardian of the Key of Desolation, an otherworldly entity that appeared as a spectral figure clad in tattered robes. Its eyes burned with an otherworldly intensity, and its voice echoed like distant thunder. The guardian warned James of the consequences of his pursuit, explaining that the key held the power not only to break the curse, but also to unleash unspeakable horrors. It offered him a choice: to abandon his quest or to continue at his own peril. Despite the Guardian's dire warning, James's resolve remained unshaken. He believed that breaking the curse was the only way to grant peace to the restless spirits and to uncover the full truth behind Emily White's tragic fate. With newfound determination, he confronted the Guardian, engaging in a battle of wits and wills as he attempted to outmaneuver the enigmatic entity and claim the key of desolation for himself. As James triumphed over the Guardian and seized the key of desolation, a chilling realization washed over him. The artifact held ancient knowledge, but it came at a heavy price. It bore the weight of countless souls, their suffering etched into its very essence. The malevolent force within the cemetery surged with newfound intensity, sensing the loss of its source of power. It vowed vengeance upon James, for he had disrupted the delicate balance of the curse. Armed with the key of desolation and the knowledge contained within it, James returned to the cemetery. He conducted a binding ritual, intending to harness the power of the key to break the curse and release the tormented souls. As he chanted incantations passed down through generations, the very earth beneath him trembled. A swirling vortex of spectral energy formed around him, and the restless spirits within the cemetery began to emerge, their forms ethereal and mournful. As the ritual neared its climax, the malevolent force unleashed its wrath. It manifested as a towering, grotesque specter, its form a twisted reflection of the countless souls it had consumed. The malevolent force sought to reclaim the power of the key of desolation, believing that it could not be imprisoned forever. It attacked James, determined to prevent the curse from being broken. In a climactic surge of power, James used the key of desolation to shatter the curse that had plagued the cemetery for generations. A blinding burst of light radiated from the artifact, engulfing the malevolent force and causing it to let out a deafening, agonized scream. The curse dissipated, freeing the tormented souls and allowing them to find their long-awaited peace. The cemetery, once a place of darkness, was bathed in a warm, tranquil light. As the curse was shattered, the restless spirits within the cemetery ascended, their forms fading into the afterlife. James watched with a mixture of relief and sorrow as Emily White's spectral figure smiled at him, her eyes filled with gratitude. The cemetery, once haunted by malevolence, became a place of serenity and solace. The townsfolk returned to honor their loved ones without fear, and the cemetery's reputation began to change. With the curse shattered, the cemetery embraced tranquil days and nights. James Cutter continued to serve as the caretaker, tending to the graves with a sense of fulfillment he had never known before. The townsfolk, once hesitant to visit, returned to the cemetery to honor their ancestors and loved ones. James, however, couldn't shake the feeling that the key of desolation held more secrets than he had initially realized. It had brought salvation to the restless spirits, but its true purpose remained shrouded in mystery. As James delved deeper into the history of the key of desolation, he uncovered a series of cryptic texts that hinted at its enigmatic origins. The artifact was said to have been forged in an ancient, long-forgotten civilization, imbued with both immense power and profound suffering. These texts hinted at a hidden purpose for the key, one that extended beyond the breaking of curses. James was determined to unlock the secrets of the artifact and understand its role in the greater supernatural world. Despite the newfound peace within the cemetery, the lingering presence still haunted James. He continued to have visions of Emily White, who now seemed to be trying to communicate with him rather than seeking help. Emily's spectral visits were filled with urgency, and James struggled to comprehend the message she was trying to convey. He knew that she held the key to the true purpose of the key of desolation. Emily's visions led James to a long-forgotten section of the cemetery, where an unmarked grave lay hidden among the shadows. It was there that he discovered Emily's own resting place, an unassuming mound of earth. The revelation sent shockwaves through James, for it meant that Emily had never been properly laid to rest. Her unfinished business was intricately tied to the key of desolation, and it was this unfinished business that had kept her spirit tethered to the world of the living. While exploring the unmarked grave, James found an enigmatic symbol etched into the headstone, a symbol that mirrored those he had seen in the texts related to the key of desolation. It became clear that Emily had been connected to the artifact in ways he couldn't fully comprehend. Determined to free Emily's spirit and uncover the key's true purpose, James initiated a new quest, one that would take him deeper into the world of the supernatural than he had ever ventured before. In his search for answers, James sought the guidance of an enigmatic occult scholar named Professor Lucius Blackwood. Blackwood was known for his expertise in ancient artifacts and their ties to the supernatural. The professor listened intently as James recounted his experiences with the key of desolation and Emily's haunting presence. Blackwood's eyes gleamed with fascination, and he agreed to assist James in unlocking the artifact's mysteries. Together, James and Professor Blackwood embarked on a journey to discover the origins and purpose of the key of desolation. Their quest led them to a hidden chamber beneath the cemetery, a place where the ancient texts had hinted the answers could be found. The chamber was filled with ancient tomes, artifacts, and symbols that dated back centuries. As they delved deeper into the chamber's secrets, they realized that the key was a part of a larger, enigmatic puzzle. Within the chamber, James and Professor Blackwood discovered a series of cryptic riddles and puzzles that seemed to guard the key of desolation's true purpose. Each riddle was more intricate and perplexing than the last, and it became clear that they were meant to test the seeker's wit and determination. As they solved the riddles one by one, James and the professor grew closer to uncovering the ancient secret that had bound Emily to the key. After weeks of tireless efforts, James and Professor Blackwood finally unraveled the final riddle. It led them to a hidden alcove where the key of desolation lay, encased in a protective barrier that had concealed it for centuries. With bated breath, they broke the barrier and grasped the artifact. As James held the key, a flood of memories and knowledge washed over him, revealing its true purpose. The key of desolation, they discovered, was not just a tool for breaking curses. It was a guardian of souls. Forged in the ancient civilization, its purpose was to guide and protect spirits who had unfinished business in the realm of the living. Emily White had been chosen as the guardian's conduit, her connection to the key binding her to the role of guiding and aiding the souls of the departed. The malevolent force had twisted this purpose, causing suffering instead of solace. Armed with this newfound knowledge, James and Professor Blackwood returned to the cemetery, prepared to confront the malevolent force once more. They believed that understanding the key's true purpose would give them the upper hand in the battle to free Emily and break the malevolent entity's hold over the cemetery. As they initiated a ritual to harness the key's guardian abilities, the malevolent force surged forth, enraged and determined to maintain its grip on the spirits. In the midst of the confrontation, Emily's spectral form appeared before James and Professor Blackwood. With a profound understanding of the key's purpose, she reached out and embraced the artifact, channeling its power. The key of desolation radiated with ethereal light, and the guardian abilities it possessed were unleashed in all their glory. Spectral chains formed around the malevolent force, binding it and weakening its power. The cemetery's restless spirits, now guided by the key, joined their efforts, overwhelming the malevolent entity with their collective strength.